Hi everybody, and welcome to Business Writing Online. I'm your instructor, Dr. Phil E. Young, and this is a short welcome video to help you get started, to give you some tips, useful information, and instructions that you'll definitely want to follow as you begin the course. Now, the very first thing you're going to want to do, if you have not already, is to make sure and get the textbook for this course. The textbook is Successful Writing at Work by Philip Collin. You definitely want to get a copy of that as soon as possible. We will almost immediately begin with reading chapters out of that textbook, and that textbook will be something that we'll use majorly over the course of the semester. So do get a copy as soon as you can. You can get a copy of it at the University Bookstore here on campus at SUNY Brockport, or you can get a copy of it elsewhere if you like. If you can find a used copy, please do so, but do get a copy of that ASAP as soon as possible. One of our first assignments in the next couple of weeks will be a quiz on the first chapter for that, and also having read that chapter will significantly help you with some of the assignments in their upcoming weeks. So do make sure and go ahead and get a copy of that textbook. If you'd like information about the textbook, the ISBN number, the particular edition that we're using, everything about that is in a folder that you'll see when you start the class that is called Required Text, and it is in our course guide and general information folder. But go, if you need to, go look at that folder, check out the edition number, the ISBN number, in case you need to order it. But do get a copy of that textbook, Successful Writing at Work, as soon as you possibly can. Now, as far as our online class goes, whenever you enter into the course and go to your home page, you'll always want to click on the words Learning Modules. You'll see them on the home page. Always click on Learning Modules. This is where the majority of our course will take place. Now, you've already done that if you're watching this video, because this is in that particular section. But you'll always want to do that every single time that you do log into the class, because this is where all the action takes place in our Learning Modules section. As you get started, you will want to go through and read the following things very carefully. These are particularly important to you to help you get started with the course. You've already probably read the How to Begin page at the top of the Learning Modules section. If for any reason you haven't, it'd be sort of strange if you're already here in the Welcome folder and you haven't read that page. But if you haven't read that page, go back and read it. If you're seeing this video, you probably have read everything in the Welcome folder, but do go on and make sure that you read very carefully sections like the page that says if you have a technical problem. Read that one particularly carefully. One of the things that you want to be aware of there are the contact numbers for technical support, ITS support here at SUNY Brockport. I want you to definitely remember that I'm in charge as the instructor of the content of the course. However, I'm not somebody that you need to contact if you're having a technical problem, a computer problem, problems uploading or downloading assignments or anything of that nature. If you have a question about an assignment that I've given to you, then feel free to ask me about it. But if you're trying to upload something and it's not working, or you're trying to watch a video and it's failing to work, or you're having some other problem of that nature, there's a link that doesn't work for you or something on the site, please contact ITS Technical Support at SUNY Brockport. They're great people, they're usually easy to work with, and they'll try and help you with any technical problems you're having, if you're having problems with the computer system, either on campus or at home. So do read that page if you have a technical problem carefully. It'll give you some useful information there. Technical problems are never an excuse for not turning in an assignment on time, not getting something in. You do want to make sure that you always observe deadlines. If you contact me and say, oh, I had a computer problem, I didn't get that in by deadline, I'm going to point you towards the If You Have a Technical Problem page, because it says exactly why you can't do that. I would definitely save times when you're working on assignments or before you submit assignments. Make sure you have a little extra time in case you run into a problem, so you can resolve that before the deadline for that particular piece that you'd be handing in. Okay, so read the If You Have a Technical Problem page. Check on places like the Help folder that you'll see there at the top of the Learning Modules section. Go through that really carefully. In the Help folder, you'll find things like information about the help desk and how to contact them a little bit more specifically. You'll find pages in there like how to submit writing assignments, writing assignment page in there. It'll tell you if you're unfamiliar with how you should submit assignments, written assignments in this course. It'll give you some information about how you go about doing that. A lot of you have knowledge of that, or you may have taken an online class before, or certainly you have computer experience, you've uploaded or downloaded documents before, but if you have any worries or concerns or need some information about how to do that, then visit our help folder and you'll find a useful page there to help you with those kinds of issues. The course guide and general information folder is particularly important. You'll want to check that out as soon as you can. In there, you'll find things that you're probably most wanting to know, like how you'll be graded in the course, the grade distributions for the class, what you'll particularly be being graded on. So you'll want to look at the grading policy page. In the course guide folder, you'll also find copies of our syllabus. You'll find a downloadable copy that you can download and print out for your own use. You'll also find an online version of it. I would strongly recommend that you download a copy. The online version is nice, but if you have your own printed out copy, it's much more useful for you just to have it there at your fingertips and be able to look at much more quickly. So I'd recommend doing that. You'll also find our required text page there in the course guide section. I mentioned that before about our textbook. Again, if you want to check out information in that section. Towards the top of the learning module section, you'll see a discussion forum that will stay open throughout the entire semester and throughout the entire course. And it'll say open forum, raise your hand and ask. Okay. This is a forum for general questions about assignments or general questions about coursework that you may have. It's something that if you want to post a question to me, it is just like you would be raising your hand, as the title suggests here, raising your hand in the classroom and asking a question. I'd like just short questions if you could. If you have more complicated questions, please email me through our email system. But if you just have a general question about an assignment, please post a question in our open forum, raise your hand and ask forum, and I'll be happy to help you with that. If you have a question about a particular assignment, it's likely that other students may have the same question. So it's always good that we have a section up here like this. Another thing is if you have a question about an assignment, you may want to, before you ask me or email me about it, you may want to check and make sure that question hasn't already been answered in our raise your hand and ask forum. Sometimes you'll be thinking about something and think, hey, I wonder if I should do this or that about a particular assignment, and you may find that question has already been answered. Another student has asked about it and it's already been answered in our raise your hand and ask forum. But use that forum as you like through the semester. Now there are some restrictions on it, and I will delete posts that are off topic. This is not a place to ask about your grades. It's not a place to complain about an assignment. If you get an assignment and you think, oh gosh, that assignment's so long or something, and you just don't like the assignment for some reason, do not post something like that on the discussion forum there. It's not for things like that. If you have a question or issue like that, you can email me about it, but the raise your hand and ask discussion forum is only for short, specific questions about assignments. All right, so when you've looked at the preliminary information up there, all of those preliminary folders, you're going to see towards the bottom of the screen a folder that says Module 1. Now, modules are where our main assignments are. Okay, there will be 7 modules in all during the course of the semester. Most of the modules are for 2 weeks. They'll span a 2-week period. A couple of them at the very end of the class will run for 3 weeks, where we're having slightly longer assignments towards the end when you're doing things like your group presentation and your portfolio assignment. Those final modules will be a little bit longer and have an extra week here or there on them. But most of the modules will run for 2 weeks. These modules will be, when you click on these folders, a new one will open again almost every 2 weeks. When a module opens, you want to go into it. You want to immediately click on at the top of that module a page that will say Module 1 outline or Module 2 outline or Module 3, whichever module happens to be open. But click the module outline page. It'll give you a rundown of what assignments are due for that, or you'll be doing for that particular module. Most modules will have several of the following assignments. You'll almost always have a discussion forum or two in those modules. These will be places where you'll be asked questions, you'll be asked particular targeted questions that will pertain to the assignments that we're looking at that week. You'll discuss them among your fellow students, just as you would have in an in-class discussion if you were in an on-campus class. These are great places. I think you'll get a lot out. I think you'll come to know your fellow students, sometimes even better than you do in an on-campus class environment, because you will be talking to them rather frequently in these discussion forums, and you kind of get to know people a little bit nicely in an online class like this. But you'll often have discussion forum assignments in each module. You'll usually have at least one and possibly two quizzes during the modules. These will be on assigned chapters from the textbook. You want to read those chapters and you want to read them carefully. The quizzes are timed, so you want to make sure that you've read and that you have the stuff sort of fresh on your mind when you sit down to take the quiz, because once it starts, it can't be stopped, and you do have to answer the quiz questions in the amount of time that's assigned. Usually there are 5 questions on each quiz, and usually the quizzes you're assigned a time period of between 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into Module 1. But just be aware that you'll have discussion forum assignments in most modules, quizzes in most modules, and you'll have short writing assignments in many of the modules. These will pertain to a lot of the different kinds of business writing we'll be studying, things like a memo assignment, a sales letter assignment. Later on, we'll be doing things like short reports and those kinds of assignments, things that are like the kinds of work you'd be doing in an office environment. Around the late middle part of the semester, you'll be working on your resume. Many of you may already have begun a resume or already have a resume. We'll work on ways, hopefully, to improve that, and we'll talk about ways to develop things like your job application letter and getting you started in a good, successful professional environment. The great thing about a class like this is that a lot of what you're doing is going to be things that you are going to be very much using in the real world, things that you'll be using to help you get a job or to help you maintain a job or to help improve the kinds of work that you're doing and to help make you more successful in your career. So a lot of what we're working on will be important, and I do take it very seriously when you're working on these assignments, and I hope that I can help you improve your writing in these various different styles. All right. Now, you'll also see one thing at the beginning of Module 1 that will be due during the first week of class. It'll be due Friday of the first week of class. And that is something that says it's a short diagnostic exam. Now, you hear exam, I know you might be like, oh no, we're already going to have an exam here at the very beginning of the class. You can relax a little bit. This is not something that's going to be graded. This is diagnostic, as the title suggests, and that means that what it is you're going to write something to kind of show me a sample of where you're currently at with your writing ability and maybe some of your initial knowledge of business writing. It's something that I will look over, keep on file, and compare with your work towards the end of the semester, just so I can see each student's progress. Now, this short diagnostic exam is required, but it's not something that will be officially graded. You definitely want to turn it in, because if you don't, it may count against something like your class participation score, but you won't be given like an official grade on it like you will with most writing assignments. You'll find that it's a fairly short and fairly simple assignment, actually, just to get us started and just to kind of see where you're at. So that is something you'll want to complete by the end of the first week of class. Okay. All right, so I'm looking forward to a great semester, and I really like my online classes that I've taught. I've taught quite a few here at SUNY Brockport. I like them a lot, and as you'll see again, I think you'll get to know your fellow students pretty well. If you're taking an online class for the first time, I think you'll hopefully be satisfied with this one. I think that you'll find that it's not quite as scary as what it may initially seem, and we'll, do a lot of things that can improve your work and hopefully enjoy some of it while we're working on it. Okay? So again, I'm available at any time. If you have a question, just email me or post a message on our Raise Your Hand and Ask discussion forum. I'll be happy to help. If not, go ahead and read all the information in our preliminary folders and pages up at the top of the Learning Module section. Then enter into Module 1 and begin as assignments, the first discussion forum will be one that's kind of fun. It's an icebreaker discussion forum where you'll just introduce yourself. I hope to hear about you and hear more from you. And good luck with the semester. I'll see you over in Module 1.